Suppose you are sitting on a planet somewhere in the Virgo cluster. You are 65 million light years away from here. You have a telescope of unimaginable power, a telescope so good you can see the continents on Earth, you can see the trees, you can see the ground moving. You tune the focus knob and you look down at the surface of the Earth. What do you see? You do not see us. You do not see cities or highways or humans. You see dinosaurs. You see a T-Rex walking through a jungle in what is now Montana. You see a giant fern swaying in the wind. Now here is the question that should keep you awake at night. Is the dinosaur there? You might say, well, of course not, Richard. The dinosaur is dead. The bones are in a museum. But wait a minute. To the alien looking through the telescope, the dinosaur is moving. It is breathing. It is hunting. The light from that dinosaur is hitting the alien's eye right now. For the alien, that event is happening now. If you and I are standing here on Earth, we say the dinosaur is the past. But for the observer in the Virgo cluster, the dinosaur is the present. So who is right? Are we right because we are closer? Or is the alien right because he is seeing it happen? This brings us to a terrible realization, a realization that completely destroys your idea of time. It suggests that the past and the present and the future are not what you think they are. They are not absolute. They are like a loaf of sausage that can be sliced at different angles. We are going to find out why. We are going to find out why you cannot trust your own eyes when you look at the stars. We are going to find out why the universe is not a three-dimensional box that changes with time, but a four-dimensional block where everything that ever happened is still there. But before we get into the heavy machinery of space-time, let us start with something simple, something you can see. Look at your hand. Move it back and forth. You see it move instantly, right? You feel the muscles contract and you see the hand move at the exact same moment. That is a lie. It is a very convincing lie, but it is a lie. The light bouncing off your hand takes a tiny fraction of a second to reach your eyes. It is about a billionth of a second. Your brain tricks you into thinking it is instant, but it is not. You are always seeing your hand as it was in the past. You are never seeing the world as it is now. You are always seeing a ghost of the world. Now, a billionth of a second does not matter much when you are shaving or drinking coffee. But what if the distance is big? What if the distance is the size of the solar system? Let me tell you a story about a fellow named Olaus Rømer. This was way back in 1676. A very clever fellow. He was looking at the moons of Jupiter, specifically the moon Io. Now, Io goes around Jupiter like clockwork, tick-tock. Every 42.5 hours it goes behind Jupiter and disappears. You can set your watch by it. It is a beautiful mechanical system. But Rømer noticed something funny, something that did not make sense. When the Earth was close to Jupiter in its orbit, the moon Io appeared on time. But when the Earth was on the other side of the solar system, far away from Jupiter, the moon Io was late. It was behind schedule. Now, why would a moon be late? Does the moon get tired? Does the gravity change? No, the machine is perfect. Rømer realized something that nobody else had the guts to say. He said, the moon is on time. The news is late. The light carrying the picture of the moon takes time to travel across the solar system. When we are far away, the light has to travel an extra distance. It takes about 16 minutes longer to cross the orbit of the Earth. This was a shock. You have to understand that before this, people thought light was instant. They thought if you open a lantern, the light is everywhere at once, like God sees everything instantly. But Rømer showed that light is a traveler. It is a messenger. And like any messenger, it has a speed limit. It travels at $186,000 mass. That is fast, but it is not infinite. And because it is not infinite, we are trapped in a bubble of ignorance. We can only know what happened in the past. We can never know what is happening now. When you look at the sun, you are seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago. If the sun blew up right now, we would not know it. We would sit here for 8 minutes feeling warm and happy. The gravity would still hold us in orbit, the light would still shine, and then suddenly, 8 minutes later, the lights go out and we fly off into space. So there is a delay. There is a gap between the reality and our perception of it. But this is just the beginning. This is just the appetizer. The main course is much stranger. Because you see, if light has a speed, then what is that speed relative to? If I throw a baseball at 100 miles an hour on a train going 100 miles an hour, the guy on the ground sees the ball going 200 miles an hour. Velocities add up. That is common sense. That is what Newton said. But light does not play by those rules. If I shine a flashlight on a train going half the speed of light, the light comes out at the speed of light. If I stand on the ground, the light still goes at the speed of light. It does not matter how fast the source is moving. It does not matter how fast the observer is moving. The speed of light is always the same. Now you should be saying, wait a minute, Richard, that is impossible. You cannot have a speed that is the same for everybody. If I run towards the light, surely I should measure it going faster. No, you measure it going the same speed. How can that be? How can the speed be the same? If I am moving, there is only one way to fix this. There is only one way to make the equation balance. If the speed is fixed, then something else has to break. Space and time have to break. If you run towards the light, your ruler must shrink. Your clock must slow down. You have to change your definitions of length and time so that the speed of light stays the constant. This is where we get into the geometry of the world. This is where we have to stop thinking about space and time as two different things. Imagine a sausage, a big, long salami. Now you can slice this salami straight down. That gives you a nice round circle. Let us call that slice. Now everything in that slice happens at the same time. But suppose you tilt the knife, you slice it at an angle. Now the slice is an oval. It is not a circle anymore. And the stuff in that slice is different. You have a piece of meat from one end and a piece of fat from the other end. This is what happens when you move. When you start moving relative to me, you are tilting your knife. You are slicing the universe at a different angle. My now is a straight slice. Your now is a tilted slice. This means that what I call the present, you might call the future. And what I call the past, you might call the present. Let us go back to our alien. The alien is 65 million light years away. Suppose the alien is sitting still relative to Earth. His now slice cuts through the universe and hits the Earth right now in the 21st century. But he cannot see it yet because the light takes time to get there. But now imagine the alien gets on a bicycle, a very fast bicycle, and he starts riding away from Earth. Just a slow movement, walking speed. Even because he is moving, he tilts his slice of the universe. The angle of his now shift because the distance is so huge, 65 million light year. A tiny tilt of the knife at the alien's end becomes a massive shift in time at the Earth's end. If he rides away from Earth, his now slice tilts into the past. Suddenly, his now does not contain the 21st century. It contains the Jurassic period. It is not just that he sees the light from the dinosaurs. It is that for him, according to the geometry of Spacetime, the dinosaurs are the events that are simultaneous with his bicycle ride. If he turns the bike around and rides towards Earth, his slice tilts into the future. His now contains events on Earth that haven't happened yet. He is simultaneous with our great-great-grandchildren. So you see the problem. If different observers can slice the sausage at different angles, then all the parts of the sausage must be real. You cannot say only the middle slice exists because my middle slice is your end slice. This suggests that the past is not gone. it is just down the sausage. It suggests that the future is not empty, it is just up the sausage. It suggests that we live in a block universe, a four-dimensional frozen block where everything is just there. The T-Rex is still hunting in the jungle. Napoleon is still fighting at Waterloo. You are being born. You are dying. It is all there in the geometry of Spacetime. Now, this is a very disturbing idea for us humans. We like to think we have free will. We like to think the future is open. We like to think we are creating reality as we go along. But the physics of light suggests that the movie is already in the can. The film is already developed. We are just a projector light moving through the frames. But wait, it gets deeper. We have to talk about why this speed limit exists. Why is there a speed of light at all? Why isn't it infinite? If the speed of light were infinite, then cause and effect would be a mess. If I could send a signal instantly, I could tell you the lottery numbers before they are drawn. We could create paradoxes. The universe seems to have this speed limit, specifically to protect causality, to make sure that the cause always comes before the effect. Think about interaction. What is really happening when you see something? It is an interaction between charged particles. You have an electron in the sun, it jiggles, it is hot, so it jiggles around. When an electron jiggles, it creates a disturbance in the electromagnetic field. Now, I do not want you to think of a field as a mathematical sheet of paper. I want you to think of it like a fluid or a jelly that fills the universe. When the electron jiggles, it shakes the jelly. A wave spreads out, ripples in a pond. These ripples travel outwards. They travel at the speed of light. Eventually, they hit an electron in your eye, and that electron jiggles. So the seeing is just a delight jiggle. Shake it here, wait a while, wiggle it there. That is the fundamental law of the universe. The delay is the price we pay for existence. If there were no delay, if everything was connected instantly, everything would happen at once. There would be no history. There would be no unfolding. It would just be one big instantaneous flash of everything. The fact that light takes time gives us the separation we need to be individuals. It gives us the privacy of our own now, but it also makes us incredibly lonely. Think about it. You can never touch anything in the present. When you touch your finger to the table, you feel the pressure. But what is that pressure? It is the electrons in your finger repelling the electrons in the table. It is the electromagnetic force. And that force is exchanged by photons, little particles of light. And those photons take time to travel across the tiny gap between your finger and the table. So even when you touch something, you are feeling the past. You are feeling the table as it was a tiny fraction of a second ago. You are never truly in contact with the world in the simultaneity of the moment. You are always chasing the moment. We are all trapped in our own little time bubbles, sending messages to each other across the void. I am here. I feel this. And by the time you hear me, I am already different. I have moved on. This is the tragedy and the beauty of it. So let us go back to the alien. The alien sees the dinosaur. Is the dinosaur real? Yes. In the grand block of Spacetime, the dinosaur is just as real as you and me. It occupies a coordinate in the four-dimensional manifold. Does the alien see us? No. We are in his future. We are waiting to happen for him. But does that mean we do not exist? No. We exist in our slice. The world is a dynamic thing when you look at it locally, but it is a static thing when you look at it globally. It is like a musical score. The symphony is written down on the paper. The notes are all there. The beginning, the middle, and the end. They exist simultaneously on the page. But for the musician playing the piece, he experiences it one note at a time. He experiences the flow of time. We are the musicians. We are playing the score of the universe. We cannot see the whole page. We can only play the note we are on. But the physics tells us the page is there. Now you might ask, Richard, is there any way to cheat? Is there any way to go faster than light and see the future or change the past? As far as we know, the answer is no. If you could go faster than light, you could outrun your own light. You could turn around and see yourself leaving. You could arrive before you left. You would break the causal chain. The universe seems to hate that. Every time we try to find a loophole in physics, nature slams the door on our fingers. No peeking, she says. So we are left with this. We are small creatures living on a small rock. Our view of the universe is delayed. Our view of each other is delayed. We are constructing a reality out of old news. But what a marvelous piece of news it is. The fact that we can figure this out. The fact that a biological machine like a human brain, using nothing but eyes and logic, can deduce the geometry of four-dimensional space. It is a miracle. We are just apes with clothes on. But we have managed to see the blueprint of reality. We have found out that we are part of a giant tapestry, a tapestry that is woven from light and time. And even though we cannot see the whole picture, we know the threads are there. So the next time you look at the stars, remember you are looking into a time machine. You are looking at ghosts. And somewhere out there, 65 million light years away, an alien might be looking at us, or looking at where we should be, and he sees a T-Rex. And in a funny way, he is right, and we are right. Because in the physics of space, I'm everything that ever was and everything that ever will be is dancing together in the silent geometry of the universe. It is a crazy world. It is a world that does not match our common sense. But as I always say, nature is not obliged to make sense to you. It is what it is. And our job is just to enjoy the puzzle. So go out there, look at the sky, think about the delay, think about the sausage, and realize that you are spread out across time in a way that is far more majestic than you ever imagined.